Hello YouTube, this is Y'Knossos. I work with Zeke Shadowfire with Around the Fur Studio. This is Derf Dragon. He's our amazing third person that's been helping us on our awesome furry costume making adventures.
Make things happen.
And we're here today to do a instructional video on how you would do measurements. How to measure things so that I know how to make things fit. Or other makers that you may choose to go with, or maybe you want to make things for yourself. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you have any questions, just throw them into the comment section and I'll answer them as they come. Alright, this is step 1 on how to take measurements when you're preparing to commission or make your own suit. This is called Make a Turkey with Your Hand. You probably did this in kindergarten, but if you didn't, don't worry, you'll get to experience it for the very first time or again. It's very simple. You have your hand, your piece of paper. If you have a smaller hand, you may use something like this. But if you have a larger hand and you want to be able to space your fingers out properly, then you may just use something simple like this. Use something bold. This is a Sharpie. You buy it for like $1 at a craft store.
It's something you want.
And it's very simple. See? Nice brand new marker. And this is how you would have made a turkey in kindergarten. You want to try to stay pretty close to the fingers, because that's the job of either your costume maker or yourself to go through later on and exaggerate it. Maybe in the future I'll do a tutorial on how you would exaggerate a hand trace to make sure that your piece actually fits. But that's it. That's how you make a turkey.
And then mark it which one it is.
Yep, well, it doesn't matter. You can
Yes.
you can mark this as that would have been your right.
Left.
Left, alright.
Yeah, see.
But if your hands are around the same size, you can cut that out, flip it over, and now you have the other one. But if you've gone through surgeries, or if you have, a significant difference between your hands, then you'll definitely want to do both sides. But that's it for step 1, the easiest step of them all. Alright, we're now on step 2 with Derf Dragon. He's helping as my model today so that I can show you guys how to do the more intricate stuff. Now what you're going to want to do before you actually sit yourself down with a friend and work this all out, get a piece of paper. I don't know how you can see it with the glare. There we go. Write down everything that you need beforehand, so you can just read, hey, I need to do the whitest part of the forehead first, and then when you get the measurement, you just jot it down. Makes things go faster. Now, one of the important things you'll need, other than a head, is this. It's a measuring tape. It's kind of cloth-like. You use it whenever you're doing measurements of this sort, because
Sewing.
it can easily wrap around things. You can pick these up at your local craft store. You can even go to a place like Walmart carries it. So, might not be as long, but it works.
In the sewing section.
So for the widest part of the forehead, you're literally going around this way.
And for us big heads.
You, sir, have a big head.
That I do.
And in this example here, I would exaggerate.
Here, take it to the front.
Is it the front?
No, show them where you're how you're measuring it, where you connect it.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yes.
So there's
that's the important
that
part.
piece going all the way around. Oh. Come on, you. And then, so we're about at 24. You can exaggerate a little, always exaggerate a little bit over. So, now that we have the measurement, we are taking this, we are doing this, it's important, you write it down. So, 24 inches. Now we're going from forehead to chin. That is a vertical measurement. So we're starting here, over the nose, under the beardy chin, and we're about 9. Something to keep in mind when you do that, sometimes people have like a different sort of a neck. So if you have a neck that kind of goes down a little bit more or goes up, sometimes it helps to point that out to the person who is making your costume. Because there's a difference between having like a weak chin like mine, where it kind of is like that, and then somebody where it's a little bit deeper. Plus, guys tend to have this great big Adam's apple right here. So.
A little bit.
Up next, we have the space
Between eyes.
between eyes, which would be, flip it around, look at the camera, smile, you're on camera.
Of course.
It's pretty standard to be around 2 inches for most people, I found. Again, very important, write it down the moment you get it. Then we're going from ear to ear under the neck, which we'll start here. We'll go around. You can hold that.
Yes.
We're getting there.
Sometimes helps.
12 inches. And then, I believe the last one is the neck. I didn't write it down fully. But this is giving your person an idea of what kind of neck the drape has to accommodate. And we're at 19.
Yeah.
Sorry, 18. 18 works. I didn't strangle you there, did I?
No. Just
Killing the dragon at step
not,
2.
Not killing me, anyways.
No, that's not part of the steps. Don't do that. Dragons might not appreciate it. Alright, and that's
This
it
should
for
be
the
the
head
head.
measurements.
Now you can take your head off.
Alrighty, step number 3. These are for your arms. Now, for this video, our model has clothes on. Sometimes, depending on what kind of clothes you're wearing, you may want to wear something completely form-fitting when you're doing this, or just take your shirt off and do your measurements with somebody you trust. So, with that said, our first measurements are going to be a set of circumferences. Now, there are 2 things to keep in mind when you're doing this. I'm going to show you the wrong way to do it first, and then show you the right way. The wrong way would be to take this, bring the arm out, kind of like, like that, and then measure, like, let's say for your first one it would be that. That's wrong. And the reason why is your muscle only distends when you bring your arm out like this. If you have arms made that don't take that muscle into consideration, you're not going to be able to bend your arm when you have the arms on. So always remember, whenever you're doing something like this, especially, and it's the same thing with your legs, is that for the arms you want to, bend, kind of flexing, do it flexed. And with the legs, you kind of want to be sitting, but we'll do that, in a later part. So, doing this correctly, number 1 is the base of the biceps. So this is going to be where your arms are going to go up to. So, and just to, like, this is where the arm is actually connecting to the torso. And it's going to go like this, and bring your arm up. As forward as it goes. Yep, there we go. Pushing that muscle out. Alright, 15.5. So it's like, now we're doing the mid again. Yep. It's very important. You're going to look for, in the middle of the arm, the highest part of that muscle. And that's where you're going to measure your mid-upper arm measurement. Let me bring it around here so people can see.
Yep.
And that would be 14. My, I feel like I have scrawny arms. Then it would be the elbow. And the elbow is also another important one to flex because of it pushes out not just your muscle, but this bony part right here as well. 14 and a half, and I'm going to check really quick. Yeah, that should be good. Just making certain that people can see what's going on. Now, when we get to the mid-lower, people usually don't have muscle, but then again, like with Derf right here, there actually is a bit of muscle in here, whereas me, yeah, I'm scrawny, I don't have it, but you still want to flex for it. This is around the middle of the arm. Look for the
big part,
the biggest part. So it's around a 12. I still feel scrawny and tiny. And then we've got the wrist. Now, traditionally, like, I'll ask for this so I have a idea of what the wrist is, but I tend to use it more. What was that at again? I already forgot.
Already forgot.
That's why you write it down immediately. 8. I traditionally use it when I'm doing the hand trace to make certain that when I exaggerate the lower portion, that I know what I'm exaggerating against. I've had people send me hand traces where there's no wrist to speak of, which means I just have to start piecing things back together again to make it fit. Another step dealing with doing the arms is actually getting the overall length. Again, you're going to want to roll up the sleeve and get an idea of where your starting point is, which is going to be where the arm actually starts, but not necessarily like up here where it connects. So I'll have you kind of go this way.
The other way.
There we go.
Yay.
And then we're going all the way down, kind of judging to where the ball of the elbow is. So the base of the shoulder to the elbow is 13. And then you go from that to your wrist is 11. Now, one of the things you're going to want to do just to make sure that your measurements add up is go back to the top, go all the way back down, get that number. I'm at around 23. And the two numbers I have are 13 and 11. You do math, this mystical world of beyond, and you get the same number, so it works.
Pretty close.
It's close enough. I got like 18, 24. So,
yeah, 24.
Yeah, it works. Alright. That looks like it's it for the arms, but one last thing, I will need you to stand up for this. Alright, when it comes to doing the shoulder blade measurement, you're going to need your person to turn around, and I'll have him get on his knees because I'm a bit of a wee little person. And check to make sure that that's in frame. That's perfect. And what you're going to be doing is getting to the shoulder blade, so it'll be from basically here to here. It's where your arms are going to come up to, which comes out to be a 23. Which is fine. And the reason why that's important, I'll actually grab some elastic really quickly for a visual. This, of course, it's elastic. It's nice and stretchy. What would ideally happen is you have your piece coming up here, your piece coming up here, and the elastic stretches across. Now, of course, this piece is too tight. You would want something that when it lays across like this, it's nice and relaxed when the person is relaxed, but then when they have to move their things forward, it'll stretch across the back like this and keep these pieces up. And then once they relax again, but if your things are like drooping like that, then it means your elastic's too long, and this is going to droop down, and then that's going to droop down. So that's how you do the shoulder measurement. Alright, this is step 4, and not every person who commissions me or commissions another maker or makes their own suit is going to do this part, but I'm going to throw it in there just in case. I make legs that actually pull up, so they're a bit like knee-high stockings or something, except they go all the way up to the base, which would be right around here. Now again, if you're doing these measurements and sending them off to somebody, you may want to do this with slightly more form-fitting pants so that you get a proper measurement. If you do it over denim, you may end up a little bigger than what you need to, which translates into pieces that don't fit. But for the sake of the video, the pants are staying on. I'm sorry those furries who wanted to see Derf pantless. My apologies. Anyway, so we are going to start again. He's in a sitting position. Let me make sure that it's going all the way down. Let's adjust that a little bit. There we go. And we're going to start again at the very base of this leg here. So, and starting it kind of like right there. We're going around. Then we're at 27. Now legs take up an impressive amount of your material.
Yeah.
So if you are doing legs, always, always get more than you think you need. This is the mid of the leg, by the way. So around 20. Otherwise, you're going to get partly through and find out, hey, I don't have enough material on hand. And then you're going to be a sad panda. 19.
Or dragon.
That's the knee. That's the circumference of the knee. That's 19.
19.
We're going to the circumference of the calf.
Which I can
would be,
bring
yeah,
this
we can
up.
roll up. Which will be right around here again. Might be easier to do it under for me. And this is the thickest part about right here. We've got about a 16. And then we go to the ankle. Now again, the ankle is not terribly important, but sometimes it helps to give the maker an idea of what the physical foot actually looks like, and that's an 11. Now,
Which could be big.
we're of course going to do now the overall length. This is not a circumference, this is a length measurement. So we would be starting around here, and your knee is about there, so 13. And then we would be, make sure I end up around the same spot. Hold on. Alright. We're going there, all the way down to there. It's about 18. So, and again, I'm writing these things down as they go, so you don't forget. Now there is another important measurement, and I'm going to have to adjust again to get to this. And I'm going to do it from the side, is the foot. You need to figure out the widest portion of your foot. You're going to want to pretty much go from here back around the ball, because that's going to be the thickest part that your legs have to accommodate. So just lift it up like that.
Yep.
And then 14.5. Now keep in mind that all these measurements will get exaggerated a bit because you can't make your legs fit exactly. What's going to end up happening is your seams will have too much stress, or the pieces themselves won't actually fit. This becomes really important when you start getting active and you're in a suit, that your material will absorb sweat. Even if you're using Under Armour, it can still absorb sweat. And when that happens, your material expands a bit and there's less room in there. This is why it's very important you don't exaggerate the measurements and then give it to a maker. Give it to them as it actually is, and then it's their job to do the exaggeration. Now, the last thing, and this is one of the things you may or may not need to have done, is the measurement from the waist to the floor. So, the reason why I sometimes get people to give me this is because they want something like a cat tail or a raccoon tail or something like that. And they want, let me check the, there we go. They want something that is going to be long but not hitting the floor. So you go from the waist down, and then you end up with a measurement that they can turn around and use. You can sit down now. With it being long, but not so long that it's constantly hitting the floor or bouncing up on steps if you're going up and down steps. And that is the second to last step. we are at our final step, and this isn't so much of a measurement as it is a quick discussion on what to pay attention to when it comes to feet and footballs. Now, people fall into one of usually 3 categories when it comes to feet. Number 1, you might have normal, like me, except I have like bunions, so that can be a special consideration, but you know, they're not high, they're not wide, they're just, you know, normal feet. I could give a person a measurement or, you know, my shoe size. They could go out and buy some canvas shoes. They could make a pair of footballs and they would fit. However, if you have somebody like Derf, he has wide feet and he has a high instep, which I will let him describe what a high instep means because I'm not so familiar with it.
Well, you can actually see it right there. See how this actually comes up off the ground, while if you push your foot flat, you have a very pronounced arch. Some people have flat feet, some people have more arched. I have very high because I can almost put my finger under my foot while it's sitting on the floor flat.
And so what this would mean is that a traditional shoe would be too low for your foot to go into. Like at the top. So it pushes the top of your foot up. Now, one of the things, if a maker is told of this, that they can do is, and I know it's not exactly the best example, but use your imagination, pretend that this, let me back out a little, take that, or just take that, pretend that is a canvas shoe. What a person could do is cut the top part completely off, and then put in something that has a higher arch in it.
Build it back up.
And build it back up, and that will allow you to accommodate for the higher instep. Now, when it comes to being wider, you would either have to do one of 2 things. You would have to go out and try to find, or have them provide you with, or you will provide the person you're commissioning with, a pair of shoes that actually comes in wide. This is actually a reason why some people don't wear footballs, because it costs too much money for them to go out and get shoes that accommodate that, only to be turned into a costume accessory. The other option may be to just simply go bigger.
Larger size.
Larger size. So he, I believe, would be a 12, but you would have to go up to like a 13 maybe. Or even bigger than that, potentially.
Right. You want to be able to put your foot into the shoe and take it out without untying it.
Now, one of the things you could do if you are hell-bent on buying a pair of shoes, either for yourself to be made into feet, or if you want your customer to go out and buy it, is you could actually do this. Take a measurement specifically of that individual foot, which I'll see if I can't show you how I would approach this. I haven't had to do this yet, but if I did, this is what I would do. I would physically first get a side measurement from the back of the heel, you want to kind of go slightly around to that. I have an 11 and a half. So I'm just going to make a quick diagram real quick.
Which actually should be approximately your size.
And then what I would then do is, starting from here, go up, put it flat if you can.
Okay.
And you're measuring flat against the floor how high it needs to go up. So about, I'm getting an 8. So then up would be 8. And then you would get how wide. Probably starting, this is traditionally usually your widest part right here, where the toes are connecting to like this part here. So you'll go across, and I'm looking at, kind of go against the ground when I do it. It's like a 7. And what you would do is you take these measurements, go to the shoe store, go to many shoe stores, and keep looking until you find a shoe that's cheap enough to be turned into a pair of footballs that doesn't cost you like $50. Until you find that one shoe that you can modify the top but accommodates the width. And that's how you could potentially get around that. It means you might have to do a little bit more shopping. So get some friends and then just go have fun with it. Turn it into an adventure. Now when all of your measurements are done, you'll end up with something kind of like this. You have a long line of scribble with your various measurements. And of course you'll end up with your handy dandy hand. And don't forget, when you give your person you're commissioning the shoe size, tell them what size and what gender. It's very important. Because they might not always know from your screen name if you're a guy or a girl. And you wouldn't want to be a size 13 guy and end up with
women's.
Yeah, they're two are completely different. For the way I would do measurements and how you might consider doing measurements for other people. Thank you for watching and have a good day.